So, the Anthem VIP demo came out not too long ago, and if you want my general impressions on that, be sure to check out my last video. But basically, I really enjoy the game's core mobility and combat mechanics. I love the versatile customization system. I praise the expansiveness of the open world environment, but I found the mission structure to be repetitive. I found the world and Fort Tarsis to be pretty barren and artificial feeling overall. I was underwhelmed by the NPC interactions, and there were a lot of game-breaking issues plaguing the demo that has me worried about whether Anthem will launch in an acceptable state in 3 weeks' time. One major aspect of the game that we still know next to nothing about, however, is how its microtransactions will work. We do know a couple things, like how there won't be loot boxes in the game, how all purchasable items will be cosmetic, and how these items can be bought with either coins, currency earned through gameplay, or shards, currency bought with real money. What we don't know, however, is how these costs will be balanced, how much grinding will be involved in obtaining the coins necessary to make purchases, or how much money you'll have to shell out to buy some of these cosmetic items outright. In the demo, all purchasable items cost 25 coins, and shards couldn't be bought or spent. But BioWare has iterated that the economy in the final version of the game will be completely different. How exactly? Well, we're less than 3 weeks out from the game's initial February 15th, 2018 launch, and we still have no idea, and anytime game publishers and developers play coy about exact monetization details, there is reasonable cause for concern. Now, one glimpse of Anthem's store has made its way to Reddit via user Thyroid, who posted the following screenshot showcasing an early look at item costs. So there are a couple of items here, starting with the Guardian Armor Pack for the Ranger class, which costs 40,000 coins or 2,000 shards. Next up is the Dreadnought Armor Pack for the Colossus, which costs the same amount of coins and shards. To the right of that is one of the fabric textures you can apply to different parts of your javelins, which costs 16,000 coins or 800 shards, an insignia called Midnight Shield that costs 8,000 coins and 400 shards, an emote for the Colossus that costs 24,000 coins and 1,200 shards, and finally a metallic texture that costs 16,000 coins and 800 shards. Apparently 100 shards will be the equivalent of $1, give or take, without counting the bonus shards you'll obtain when you buy bigger packs of shards. So what that essentially translates to is that the 2 armor packs cost $20 each, the emote costs $12, the textures cost $8 each, and finally the insignia costs $4. I don't think anyone can deny that the listed prices in this early iteration of Anthem's marketplace are plain and simply ludicrous. Many have pointed out how these prices seem to have been inspired by Fortnite's pricing model, but Fortnite has some leeway in that it is a free-to-play game and offers tangible means to obtain its cosmetic items via the generally tolerated Battle Pass. Anthem, on the other hand, is a premium $60 game that will make plenty of revenue from sales alone, so there's simply no excuse for price points like these. Yes, these are cosmetic only, but making your character look badass, especially in a third-person online game, is a major point of satisfaction for players, so they do offer significant value to many people and in turn are a major part of the game's reward system that keep players coming back. Now, because all items in Anthem can be purchased with either coins or shards, players will be able to earn everything through gameplay technically, but because we don't know the rate at which players will be earning coins, it's hard to gauge whether the grind involved will be reasonable or not. So that's one important variable that's up in the air. Still, seeing the screenshot members of the Anthem community took to forums to understandably express their concerns. BioWare eventually got wind of this, and the studio's senior systems designer Chris Schmidt issued a direct response to the thread, which reads as follows. Hey there, one thing to keep in mind is these don't represent final, stamped for all eternity pricing. We are iterating on our economy design and balance almost daily, so you're seeing a snapshot of one iteration. This is why we tend to not discuss things like pricing, because it's one of those iterative things that's sure to change frequently right up until the day you play the game. Okay, so we don't know what the final version of Anthem's store will look like, so BioWare is implying that we should wait until the game launches before we make any final judgments. I guess it's true that it's currently hard to say with any level of certainty whether Anthem's microtransactions will be tolerable or not, but in return I say that the current level of uncertainty is all the more reason that you need to wait until the game launches, until the reviews are out, and until after we feel we have a full understanding of how the game's monetization scheme works, before spending your money and delving into the game. Maybe it will turn out that the final games marketplace won't be nearly as bad as this screenshot makes it out to be. But so long as we don't know for sure, it is always prudent to be cautious. While Bioware's response does at least confirm the screenshot isn't representative of the final game, the studio hasn't made any tangible clarifications either, and I'd be hard-pressed to trust everything will turn out fine until I see it with my own two eyes. So while it's definitely too early to tout doom and gloom, it's also too early to let your guard down and to not be trepidatious about approaching Anthem. Bioware's smartest move would be to be fully open, honest, and transparent about how exactly microtransactions will work before the game launches. If they are indeed aiming to ensure the game's economy feels fair and monetization feels unobtrusive, they should just let us know days in advance how everything works, and even ask for feedback from the community. I remember when Warframe's developers live-streamed themselves asking players for feedback about monetization after aspects of it left a sour taste in the community's mouth, and that's something that garnered a lot of respect. There is simply no better way of making consumers feel safe about a purchase than just letting them know exactly what they're getting into, and with microtransactions being such a prevalent topic in this day and age, with monetization being something that can be so easily manipulated, games featuring them should always strive for full transparency rather than keep those cards close to the chest right up until the last minute, or wait until the reviews are out and then add microtransactions later so they wouldn't be factored into the initial wave of feedback as titles like Black Ops 4 did. It concerns me that BioWare is touting how they tend to not discuss things like pricing because it's something they'll keep iterating right up until release day, when that's not necessarily a good thing. It just feels like an excuse to keep a contentious aspect of the game under wraps right up until launch day so that they can keep feedback contained. Pricing is information people should know about ways before a product comes out, not on the day of or after a purchase has been made. It's pivotal for BioWare to solidify this stuff enough time so that potential buyers can make informed decisions. Otherwise, people will just think they have something to hide, regardless of their true intentions, and all that will do is plant seeds of doubt. Now, I don't know for sure whether disclosure of monetization scheme is up to BioWare or EA, though I'd put my money on EA, but either way, it's not good or reassuring to keep this stuff under wraps if they want to actually evoke the sense that they really have nothing egregious to hide. If the tendency to put a veil of secrecy around monetization can be resisted, and if the information presented seems reasonable, it will go a long way in garnering trust and goodwill from skeptical consumers. I would also hope that BioWare is intent on listening to all the feedback that's being provided in this thread. One user, Professor Snarf, I think put it best when he posted the following. Hi, respectfully, I'm going to give you some data points to help figure out your pricing. If any one cosmetic costs $20, you'll be roasted alive by the general gaming community. Your game will be dead on arrival. If any one cosmetic takes 10 hours of playtime to save enough to buy only one thing, you will be roasted alive by the general gaming community. Your game will be dead on arrival. I'm sure you guys are more than aware of what happened with DICE and Battlefront 2. I know that it's not the same studio, but your common association with EA means you have, unfortunately, inherited that mess. You simply cannot launch with any microtransactions or time played cost per cosmetic. That seems outrageous and brings back those feelings of the Battlefront 2 launch. Please don't even consider it. I was there on the Battlefront 2 Reddit when everything went down, and it happened exactly like this. A screenshot showing currencies and people starting to do math. It happened fast and the game was damaged way before the pride and accomplishment post was made. You seem to have a really cool game on your hands. Please don't let greed kill it before it has the chance to become something special. It doesn't matter if it's cosmetics or not. A full price game should not have a microtransaction that's a third of the value of the entire game. A full price game should not have you grind 20 hours for one item. I would say a free-to-play game shouldn't do this either, but that ship has sailed. Thank you, I hope your game is awesome. I couldn't have put it better myself, honestly. The fact that the screenshot even exists is somewhat disconcerting, as it means that EA and BioWare have at the very least considered this iteration of Anthem's store, which only gives off the impression that they're trying to push monetization as far as they can rather than find a reasonable balance. But as the Reddit user aptly pointed out, if the game's final monetization system is anything like this, Anthem will be dead on arrival. It'll get immense backlash from the outset. So the hope is that they do the morally right and the business smart thing here and resist avaricious temptations that may drive away players before the game's had a chance to kick off. It's happened with multiple EA games in the past, it's happened with plenty of other titles from other greedy game publishers, so let's just hope history doesn't repeat itself with Anthem, a game that I think does have potential with its solid core mechanics and foundation. These are one man's perspective anyway. I'd love to hear what your take is on the early screenshot of Anthem's store and BioWare's response in the comments below. With that, I would like to end this news update. Thank you for tuning in. To be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.